You know you got a good shirt when the guns are hugging like this. You know it's a well-fitted shirt. Okay, so week 4. Yeah, I mean week 4 went pretty well. I'm down actually to 175 week 4. So far progress been pretty linear, which is good. I think it's gonna be linear as long as I stay consistent. I think, especially with me tracking all my food and also my calories burned when I do my cardio and resistance training, pretty much 5 days a week, well 6 days and 8 days, is definitely gonna help me keep this linear progress. Now, keep in mind, if I were to do this and I wasn't on a 24-week plan and I don't have a deadline to meet, it probably wouldn't be a linear progress because I'll probably be a little more unrestricted in terms of what I'm eating. I'll probably go out and eat 2 times a week. I probably have a day where I don't track my calories because right now I'm tracking pretty much all my calories, and every single day I'm trying to be as precise as possible. And soon enough, sooner or later, I mean, actually I have to probably not eat out, because you know, once I get to the point where I'm lean enough or very lean, and I'm only like 8 weeks out or 6 weeks out from my competition, it's probably not the best idea to eat out. Given that I'm new in terms of competing, I should probably just stick to the plan in terms of what my coach gives me. So eating out is probably not an option once I get closer and closer to the competition. But I've seen people who actually done their bodybuilding shows and they ate out pretty much up until 1 or 2 weeks left, and they were still tracking their food. I know my coach done that, and I know it's possible. But just for myself, just for my first competition, just gonna go by the books. If I have to eat out and I have no other option, I'm not gonna stop myself from not doing so. If there's an event coming up within this 20 weeks or so and I have to eat out, I will. But I'll make sure I track the food I eat to the best of my ability, and also, you know, pick the right food, because after doing this for such a long time in terms of like tracking my foods, I kind of have a good understanding of looking at a food and seeing that it's this portion size, or seeing that this is 1 cup of or something, or seeing that this is 1 serving of something, or seeing that this is 4 ounces of something. So that is the topic I want to talk about today. It is gonna be about tracking, and if you should track your foods, and if it's necessary to track your foods in terms of your calories, and should you be using a weight scale, like an actual weight scale, every single day. Because I'm doing that right now because I'm prepping for the bodybuilding show. But for you as an individual who's, you know, just want to lose some weight, do you have to track everything on a scale and be very meticulous? That will be the topic I'll be discussing about today. But with that being said, disclaimer as always, this is my posing update. Hope you guys enjoy just my progress so far in terms of my week to week. I do post that photo every Sunday just to show you my progress and how minimal the changes are. But once you compare week 1 to probably week 4, you can probably see some differences, which I do see already in terms of my stomach. That's the area that I'm seeing thinning down, and it's gonna be quite some time since I've seen my abs. Last time I seen my abs, or I mean I still see my abs, like in terms of like very defined abs, the last time I had that shown is probably in high school, because in college I was not lean at all. In college I was eating a lot. So that being said, this is the posing, and after that we'll talk about tracking and if it's necessary to track all your foods you eat. Alright? Okay, so here's my week 4 posing update. As you can see, I'm wearing a different pair of boxers here because people think I only have 1 pair. It's funny because every single week. I didn't even notice that I was wearing the same, not same pair, but I guess the same color. But posing update, everything's still looking pretty much the same. I mean, nothing changed drastically. Like I said, changes are probably gonna come within the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. Slowly but surely, I'm seeing some cuts in my body, and I need to practice. Just practice on these posing as much as I can. And to be honest, I'm probably gonna get some red trunks when I get onto that stage. Red is my favorite color, by the way. So, and I think red will be good for posing trunks. But here you go, like side chest here. Feeling a lot more comfortable doing this turn. I think I need to maybe just turn a little more, just learn how to rotate a little bit more, and I'll be set for that posing. That pose. As you can see there, I forgot my tricep, side tricep. That's still a little awkward for me to do. I'm gonna make sure I just focus on keeping the abdominals as tight as I can while I do that pose. But overall, posing has been good. I've been practicing it. I think it just takes time for me to get better at, and yeah, it's just something I need to improve on. But overall, this week's been good in terms of how my progress is going. I'm happy with the progress. I know it's slow and steady progress. I know it's gonna take some time. I still got a lot of time left. It's like, this is the 4th week, so I got another 24, another 20 weeks to still lean out. So there's still a lot of time for me to lean out and get ready for that show. And yeah, like I said, it's gonna be in Orlando. It's gonna be a good time. And yeah, I'll end off this voice over here. Just finishes off here with me doing my most muscular poses, which I still think is my best one right here. Once I blow out all my air, there you go. So you see some abs. They're coming in. Food isn't necessary to pull out a scale every single time you eat something. It isn't necessary to put it into MyFitnessPal like some people do, like I'm doing right now. And is it necessary to do all this stuff in order to lose weight? The short answer is no, but let me give you my take in terms of why you should try it and why you should do it for a good period of time, or even a short period of time, just to understand yourself, right? Understand what you're eating, because I've seen this a lot. I've seen this in people I train. I've seen this in myself earlier in my lifting career, earlier in the days where I started fitness. I was telling myself I was eating enough, and I was very, very skinny, and I wasn't growing at all. I wasn't growing any muscle. I wasn't gaining any weight, and I kept telling myself I was eating enough, but in reality I was not. So those are the two groups that usually could benefit from tracking the most, are people who say they're eating enough but they're not, and people who say they're eating too much, but excuse me. So the two groups that could benefit from tracking, in my opinion, are people who think they're eating enough to gain weight but they're not, and people who think they're not eating at all and they're not losing weight. So those are the two main groups I think could benefit a lot. But even with people who are like not having any issue in terms of losing weight or gaining weight, but they do want to dial in and try to see more defined abs or see more defined muscles, I do recommend you to track somewhat, in probably like in terms of a couple months or so. That would be helpful. Tracking your foods is definitely eye-opening, and you could benefit from that and take that with you in terms of, once you get off of tracking, or once you have days where you don't track, you could look at a food and kind of eyeball and say like, hey, this amount of calories, hey, this is 1 serving of meat, hey, this is 1 serving of pasta, this is 1 serving of rice, and you get a better understanding. So when you're looking at food, you know how much you're consuming and you know when to stop. So I think that's a great part about tracking. Now here's some cons when it comes to tracking meticulously and tracking in terms of putting everything on the scale. I ran into this myself. I've seen other people run into this as well, and that's being caught up with the numbers and making sure that you're trying to hit every single gram of protein, every single gram of carbs, or every single gram of fat. And it can drive some people crazy, and it can be hindering in terms of progressing for a lot of individuals, because they get so caught up in these numbers, and and their social life get messed up, and time with their family, it gets messed up because they feel like they can't eat out at all. Like if they can't even track the smallest thing on MyFitnessPal or on the scale, or if it's something on the menu they can't track, they feel like they can't have anything outside, and they can't eat at a restaurant at all. So that's a problem that may arise when it comes to tracking, in terms of putting everything on a scale and tracking it by the grams or by the ounce and the actual weight on the actual food. So that is pros and cons when it comes to tracking your calories using a scale. Now, in my opinion, like I said, I think it's beneficial for people who won't get freaked out by the numbers too much and can understand that this could be a learning experience for them, in terms of knowing how much to eat. That way you know when to stop, and that way you get a better understanding of yourself and how much you're eating right now, and maybe you're eating too much that you have to cut back, or maybe you're eating too little that you have to eat more in order to gain weight, right? So now it comes to, do you have to do it? No. Like that's my short answer to that as well. And the reason why you don't have to do it is because there's so many other ways to track your food, right? It doesn't have to be with the scale. The scale is probably the most accurate, right? Because you're reading the food label. You're reading the food label, you're putting it whatever it says on the nutrition label, and it's probably the most accurate in terms of what you could get when it comes to nutrition. Now, it's not optimal for a lot of people because no one carries around a scale with them all the time. Not saying you have to carry a scale with you when you go to a restaurant, but no one likes to pull out a scale every time they have to make food, or pull out a scale every single time they see a package and they're taking food out of the package, because some people make food for other individuals as well. So sometimes they cook in a bulk, and it's hard to track every single little bit, especially when you're dividing up the food. So that could be an issue when it comes to tracking. So there's other ways to track your food, right? You could use a food diary, you could use photos, and create like diaries every single day. That helps as well. You could just use a simple notepad, write down what you eat, how much you're eating, or you could use the plate method. That's another way you could track your food, right? Putting your food on a plate, dividing out the portions. You know that chart they put on the I think the the Government Food Association or something like that. I think like the from the government, that they have that plate and they divide it up. This is how much protein you need, this is how much carbs you need, this is how much fats you should be having, and this is how much greens you should be having. Like that's a great method. That's a great method. As long as you know and you could track how much you're consuming, whether it be using a scale so you know exactly how much you're consuming through weight, or using the plate and seeing the portion size, how much you're eating, or using your hand. Like, are you having a palm of meat every single meal, or are you having a fist of carbs every single meal, right? So there's so many different ways in terms of tracking your food. You're not just limited to one option. Some options are more viable in comparison when it comes to tracking your food. So choosing the right one that fits your needs and your lifestyle, once again, is your best option when it comes to losing weight, or when it comes to gaining weight. When it comes to nutrition, it's just like diets, right? Choosing the right option of how you track that diet is gonna help you obtain your goal a lot quicker, and also it's gonna help you obtain your goal in a more sustainable fashion, without you binging or without you being obsessive over body image or what you have to eat. Because I know people, and I've seen people on Instagram who've done macro tracking for years, and then they become a little obsessive with in terms of tracking every single little thing they eat, even when they're not trying to compete, or even when they're just living their life. They would need to track every single thing they eat, and that could be an issue, right? That could arise from tracking. So I personally I track right now because I want to make sure I'm stage ready and I'm ready for this bodybuilding show within 20 weeks. But if I was not doing this show, I would probably not track, unless I have a specific goal that I'm trying to hit in terms of gaining weight or gaining muscle. I would probably just eat my regular food throughout the week. If I'm trying to gain, this is my take. If I'm, for myself, for example, if I'm trying to gain weight right now, I would eat probably same meals Monday to Friday, and I'll just add it in an additional cheat meal on like Saturday. Well, quote unquote cheat meal, not really cheat meal, but just a meal where I just, don't worry too much, eat whatever I want, pick something off the restaurant and the menu in the restaurant, and just eat it. So that way I can still have my social life, I can still go out and eat while still obtaining my goals. So same thing with you. If you're not interested in tracking, but you want to lose weight, you still need to track something, right? Like, you track your weights in the gym. I'm sure you track your weights in the gym. Are you moving up from 5 pounds to 10 pounds? I'm sure you track your weight on the scale. Are you dropping from 150 pounds to 145 pounds? So why not track your food? Like, that's something I don't understand when it comes to fitness and nutrition for some individuals, like, because they track everything else but they don't track their food. Like, it's gonna be a little time consuming, yes, but it's gonna be more accurate. And if you want to achieve your goals and you want to achieve a certain type of physical appearance, right, or you want to lose some weight just to shed some body fat, whatever it may be, or you're trying to gain some weight, gain some muscle, whatever your goal may be, it's gonna require work, right? It's gonna require work. And if you're already doing all the other stuff, why not just add this additional step? Because trust me, if you add this additional step, it's gonna make a world of a difference when it comes to your results, because nutrition is hand in hand, if not more important than your training, when it comes to the actual progress of changing your physical appearance. Okay, so recap: many different ways in terms of tracking your food. Choose one that works for you. Just like with diets, choose one that works for you. But I do recommend people to track their food on a scale, maybe like for 2 months or so, just to understand exactly how much one serving looks like for multiple items that you usually eat, right? So then once you do that, then you could probably remove the scale and then just eyeball stuff. Look at this, say this is 1 serving, okay, this is 2 serving. Hey, maybe I need to pull back, or maybe I need to add more. Okay, so that's my recommendation. Hope that helps, and thank you again for watching these videos. For those of you who are finding it beneficial, leave a comment down below. What do you do in terms of tracking? Do you use a scale? Do you prefer using a plate? Do you use your hands, or do you just eyeball, or do you use a diary? I want to hear from you guys in terms of what method works for you. Maybe your method could work for someone else, right? So share your methods down below. What do you do if you're trying to obtain a certain fitness goal, like let's say losing weight? Do you track your food? Do you not? What do you do? Comment down below. Hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe as well. I'll be putting on more content, at least 1 video once a week, but definitely on the Instagram page I'm putting out content daily, and hopefully you find those helpful as well. So that's it for this video. See you guys next time. Thanks again for watching. Peace.